A very good morning, dear students. Let us start our social science class. Dear students, today let us continue chapter 24, Forms of Government. Already in previous class we started this chapter and we discussed about what is the democratic government and the authoritarian government. And in today's class let us see the forms of democratic government, how the democratic government is forming, and we can see the parliamentary and the presidential government, the unitary and the federal government. And when we are saying about the parliamentary and the presidential government, we can see the differences between the parliamentary and the presidential government. It is the forms of government. It is the primarily it is based on the legislature and the executive and the extent to which they are dependent or independent to each other. And primarily we can see the legislature, the parliamentary and the presidential system. It is based on the legislature and the executive. And when we are discussing about the presidential government, we can say the presidential government, it is the legislature and executive. It is separated in the presidential government. And the parliamentary government, we can see the executive, it is emerging from the legislature. The executive, it is emerging or it is coming from the legislature. And again we can see the presidential government, the powers it will be separated. The separation of the powers we can see in the presidential government. And in the parliamentary government we can see that it is characterized by the fusion of powers. The powers it is characterized by the fusion. So this is the presidential and the parliamentary forms of government. Already we told that the parliamentary forms of government, it is the executive, it is emerging from the legislature, and also it is characterized by the fusion of powers. And also we can see in the parliamentary forms of government, the head of the government is different from the head of the state. The head of the government, it will be different from the head of the state. That is in the parliamentary forms of government. And next we can discuss about the unitary and the federal government. What is the unitary and the federal government? And when we are saying about the unitary government, we can see which are the powers in the unitary government, what are the powers it is centralized under one central government. All the powers it is centralized by whom? By one the central government. And the federal government, when we are saying the powers it is divided between the center and the state. The federal governments we can see all the powers it is dividing the center and the state, and also this division it is dividing the central and the state, and this all the divisions of the powers it is lies in the constitution. We can see this all the division of the powers it is lying in the constitution. And in India, the constitution have given the center more power than the state. In our constitution, it is giving more the center. It is given the center more power than the states. And also, this is why we say that the India is the federal with the unitary bias. So the unitary form of government, it is the one which all the power is centralized under the one central government. And the unitary government, we have seen all the powers it is centralized in one central government. And the federal government, we have seen all the powers it is separated or it is divided between the center and the state. And next we can discuss about the constitution. What is the constitution? The constitution, it is a body of a basic rule, how the government have to work, the government how it have to work, and all the basic rules it is contained in the constitution. And we can say that the constitution is a fundamental legal document. It is a fundamental legal document. The constitution, it is a fundamental legal document, and all the body of the basic rules and all it is containing in the constitution, how the government have to work. And again we can see the constitution, it is the important of a country in numerous ways. How the constitution it is important for a country. We can see the first of all, the constitution it is specifying the government would be composed and how it functions. The government how it have to functions and all it is specifying in the constitution. And secondly we can see that the states of or the rights of the citizen and how they would be exercised, and all the rights of the citizen it is in the containing or it is states in the constitution. And we can see it also states, the constitution it is states that the norms how the government would be conduct itself, how the government how to rule and all this, all it is norming in the constitution. And again we can see it prescribes the relationship between the different organs of government and defines clearly the score of their activities, and the relationship between the different organs of the government and what all the scope of their activities and all it is containing in the constitution. And next we can see the constitution also it is preventing the government from being the despotic, and the government it is forming or it forms being of the despotic. And by saying this and all we can say that how the constitution it is important to a country. And next we can see what is the written and the unwritten constitution. What is the written and the unwritten constitution? And when we are saying about the written and the unwritten constitution, we can see the most of the constitution of the countries it is become the document, like a document. And we can see the constitution of the United States of America was given a final shape of in 1787. It is given the final shape in the United States of America. It is in the 1787. And the constitution of India it was the result of a long careful consideration by the members of the Constituent Assembly between the 9 December 1946. The 9 December 1946 and the 26 November 1949. 26 November 1949. So this is the Indian Constitution. It have the in 9 December to 1946 and the 26 November 1949. And these are the written constitution. It is providing the institutional arrangement and the procedures. And we can see the written constitution. It is necessary for the many reasons. And we can see the aim of the people and the vision of leaders are contained and protected in the constitution. And what are the aim of the people and the vision of the leaders and this all it is containing and it is protecting in the constitution. And it also it is helping to avoid the situation of the conflicts. And these are the important one, the constitution. And when we are saying about the unwritten constitution, we can see the British constitution. It is the classic example for the unwritten constitution, and it is the starting far back with the Magna Carta in the year 1215 and the Glorious Revolution in 1688, and the laws and the institution have gradually evolved over the centuries. And we can see mainly the unwritten constitution. For example, the written constitution it is the unwritten constitution. And we can see this all there is no the signed documents of the British constitution. We can see in the constitution it is the basic rules and the regulations it is containing there, and the government have to follow this basic, the people, the citizen of the country, and the government have to follow these rules and the regulations. So that is containing in the constitution. And next we can see the flexible and the rigid constitution. What is the flexible and the rigid constitution? The flexible and the rigid constitution, we can see already we know the constitution it is a political document. The constitution it is the political document, and we can see the political document or the constitution it is giving or it takes the shape of a particular political atmosphere and the ideas and the political ideas and all it is giving. So the constitution it is a political document. And when we are saying about the written and the unwritten constitution, we can say that the written constitution it will be the constitution it is having the tendency to be somewhat rigid. The written constitution it will be somewhat rigid one, and it is so far as they provide for a specific procedure of the amendment, and the written constitution it will be the somewhat rigid one. And when we are saying about the flexible constitution, we can say that the British political system it is allows the changes of the its constitution. So the political the flexible constitution, it is allowing the flexible constitution, it is allows for the changes it take or the constitution by means of laws passed by the parliament. The political the flexible constitution, we can make the changes, and the changes can be brought by the about by the laws of the parliament. About the laws of the parliament, it can take out the changes, and the flexible constitution, it is taking place the changes and all, and the written constitution, it is the rigid one. So these are the flexible and the rigid constitution. And next we can see what is the franchise. The franchise meaning, what is the franchise? The franchise meaning, it is the right to vote for the citizen, the right of a citizen to vote. The those who are the citizen, those who are above the 18 years, they are having the right to vote. That is called the franchise. And next we can see the universal adult franchise. It means that all the adult citizens have the right to the franchise. And already we told that the franchise, it means the right to the citizen to vote, and the universal adult franchise means that those who are the adult, those who are above 18 years, they have the they are having the right to vote. So the universal adult franchise means that all the adult citizen have the right to the franchise, and the vote, it is enabling the citizen to choose the person who will represent them to state, the assemblies and the elections which are held of the purpose. And this means the citizen can change their representative at the election. They can change the representative in the elections and all. And the vote, therefore, it is giving the citizen to right and to choose the person who govern the country, and the citizens are not satisfied with these rulers, they can replace them with the other at the next election. And the citizen or the people, they are electing the person, and the time between the time, if they are not doing the things well, they can, the next election time, they can replace the person. And today we can see the most of the democracies, it is having the right to vote is granted as a birthright, and without any discrimination or the regard to race or the ethnicity or the class or the gender. And all the people, they are getting the birthright, or they have the right to vote. It is granted to the birthright. And we can see that the people, they are having the people can do the voting and all. And before and all, the past, there is no, the women, they were not doing, or they are not keeping the vote and all. But in the 19th and the 20th century onwards, we can see it is focusing on the universal suffrage became the removal. Told it is removed the things, and they are having the against the woman having the right to vote, and the woman also, they are having the right to vote. And we can see the many societies and all the past, they are having denied people the right to vote on the basis of the race and or the ethnicity. Or for example, we can see the non-white cities, they could not vote for the apartheid, and in the South Africa and all, those who are the apartheid or those who are the non-whites, they are not able to do the voting and all. And here we can see in June 1964, the Nelson Mandela, who fought with against the apartheid, and he was in the prison and with other 7 members. And on 11 February 1990, 27 years after he had first been in prison, and the Nelson Mandela, he walked out of the ground of the Victor Verster prison as a free man. And because of the Nelson Mandela, the apartheid person, or those who are the non-whites also, they also, that we can see in the South Africa, and the Nelson Mandela and the 7 other members, they fought to that. And we can see in today's class, we discuss about the forms of government, how the government it is forming, and we have seen the democratic and the authoritarian government, and we have seen the democratic government, how it is the parliamentary and the presidential government, the unitary and the federal government. And we have seen the constitution. The constitution, it is the people's, the rules and regulation it is containing, that is called the constitution. And the written and the unwritten constitution, and the flexible and the rigid constitution, and the franchise we have seen. or the franchise, it is meaning that the right of a citizen to vote. So these are the things we discussed in today's class and in this chapter.